Let's get to the U.S. Citizens' children being detained by the administration and also being deported alongside their migrant parents, because that's the situation that's what we're watching right now.
President Trump's deportations are drawing controversy once again. This time, 3 children, all U.S. citizens, have been forcibly removed from the U.S. with their migrant mothers and sent to Honduras. Lilia Luciano is here with more. Lilia, good morning.
Good morning to you, Adriana. These children, ages 2, 4, and 7, are U.S. citizens and were sent with their mothers, who were deported Friday morning. According to the family's lawyers, the women were arrested during ICE routine check-ins and were given virtually no opportunity to speak with lawyers or their family members. In the case involving the 2-year-old, a Trump-appointed federal judge in Louisiana raised concerns that the Trump administration appears to have, quote, deported a U.S. citizen without any meaningful process, end quote. The president's border czar, Tom Homan, disputed that claim on Face the Nation Sunday.
That female had due process at great taxpayer expense and was ordered by the immigration judge after those hearings. So she had due process. Again, this is parenting 101. You can decide to take that child with you, or you can decide to leave the child here with a relative or another spouse. Having a U.S. citizen child doesn't make you immune from our laws of the country.
We are not sure of the immigration status of the girl's father, but we do know he tried to have the child's legal custody temporarily transferred to his sister-in-law, who is a U.S. citizen. According to court documents filed by the child's custodian, ICE agents refused to honor a request to release the girl to the custodian, stating that it was not needed because she was, quote, already with her mother. Adding to this very layered situation, in the case of the 4-year-old, lawyers say the child has a rare form of cancer and was removed from this country without medication. Meanwhile, one of the women deported is pregnant. Anthony.
Lilia, thank you. Very complicated case, and typically these are adjudicated in a much longer process.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what's happening on the interior. On Friday, there were 3 American citizen children born here who were deported along with their mothers from Louisiana down to Honduras. And according to advocates, one of them is a 4-year-old child with stage 4 cancer, a rare...
Oh, straightforwardly a fucking demon, dude.
form of metastatic cancer, who was sent back to Honduras without getting to talk to a doctor and without medication. I understand this child's mother entered this country illegally, but isn't there some basis for compassionate consideration here that should have allowed for more consultation or treatment?
Well, it certainly is discretion. I'm not aware of the specific case, but no U.S. citizen child was deported. Deported means you got to be deported by the immigration judge. We don't deport U.S. citizens.
The mother was deported along with the children.
The children aren't deported. The mother chose to take the children with her. Now, when you enter the country illegally, and you know you're here illegally, and you choose to have a U.S. citizen child, that's on you. That's not on this administration. If you choose to put your family in that position, that's on them. But having a U.S. citizen child after you enter this country illegally is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. It doesn't make you immune from our laws. If that's the message we send to the entire world, women are going to keep putting themselves at risk to come to this country. You know, we send a message. You can enter the country legally, which is a crime. That's okay. You can have due process, great taxpayer expense, get ordered to move. That's okay. Don't leave. But have a U.S. citizen child and you're immune from removal, that's not the way it works.
So you don't think there should be compassionate consideration for a 4-year-old child undergoing treatment for cancer?
I didn't say that. I said
well, that was a question.
ICE officers do have discretion.
Yeah.
ICE officers do have discretion. I'm not familiar with the specific case. I don't know what facts are on this case. I just made aware of this when you mentioned this morning. I was not aware of that case.
On Friday, a federal judge who was appointed by President Trump said a 2-year-old American citizen child had been sent to Honduras with the mother who was deported. But the judge said, quote, there was no meaningful process. So again, this is another similar situation and dynamic. Shouldn't there be special care when these deportation cases involve small American-born children?
Well, first of all, I disagree with the judge. There was due process. That female had due process at great taxpayer expense and was ordered by the immigration judge after those hearings. So she had due process. Again, this is parenting 101. And you can decide to take that child with you, or you can decide to leave the child here with a relative or another spouse. Having a U.S. citizen child doesn't make you immune from our laws of the country. American families get separated every day by law enforcement. Thousands of times a day when a parent gets put in jail, the child can't go with them. These, if you're an illegal alien, come to this country, and you decide to have a U.S. citizen child, that's on you. You put yourself in that position.
Well, when...
Oh, my God. This is... Isn't this guy supposed to be aware of these sorts of things? Like, I know he's lying, but isn't it also a bad look to say, oh, yeah, I had no idea my organization is doing this? It doesn't matter at this point. It doesn't fucking matter. That's my point. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Schumer on the Dem response to Trump's shakedown on Harvard. We sent him a very strong letter just the other day. A very strongly worded letter. You see, it's over. Chuck Schumer wrote a very strongly worded letter to Donald Trump. He is, any day now, Donald Trump, a man who we still don't know if he knows how to fucking read or not, is going to read that and go, wow, thanks. Thanks for the feedback. I am going to go extra hard now. This kind of pressure does not fucking matter. You actually have to protest. You actually have to make a big fuss. You have to put your body on the line, okay?
When it came to this particular case, you just pointed out that they could have made arrangements. The father tried, actually, to make arrangements, as we understand it through our reporting. But he and the mother, who were separated since she was in detention after showing up for her appointment, was only allowed a very brief phone call. The father tried to petition to get the child handed over to an American citizen relative. So the mother had to make this decision and took the child with her. It just seems like there could be some more time frame here around due process allowed. That's what the judge is saying there should have been more of a process here.
There was due process. The two-year-old baby was left with the mother because the mother signed a document requesting her two-year-old baby go with her. That's the parent's decision. I don't think the judge knows specifics of this case. Two-year-old went with the mom. The mom signed a paper saying, I want my two-year-old to go with me. That's a parent's decision. It's not a government decision, it's a parent's decision.
The father wrote a note. Anyhow, we have to leave it there. Director, thank you for your time today. We'll be right back.
Yeah, the argument is, we didn't deport these kids. We just made them choose between staying in the U.S. or their mothers. Obviously, it was totally up to them. And what Secretary Marco Rubio is defending here is obviously an indefensible thing. What the secretary is defending here is completely fucking indefensible. Let's hear what he had to say.
On the headline, that's a misleading headline. Okay, 3 U.S. citizens, ages 4, 7, and 2, were not deported. Their mothers, who are legally in this country, were deported. The children went with their mothers. If those children are U.S. citizens, they can come back into the United States if there's their father or someone here who wants to assume them. But ultimately, who was deported was their mothers who were here illegally. The children just went with their mothers. But it wasn't like, you guys make it sound like ICE agents kicked down the door and grabbed the 2-year-old and threw him on an airplane.
No, that's precise, because that's what happened. No, that is literally what happened. Yeah, they did that alongside their mothers, who, again, have U.S. citizen children and U.S. citizen husbands, by the way. So they're in the process Under normal circumstances, they should be getting U.S. citizenship. Okay? Just so you recognize the depravity here. We're talking about people who are either here on like tourism visas or whatever, or visa overstayers who have children with U.S. citizens. Their children are U.S. citizens. And Marco Rubio is saying, no, you don't understand. These people are illegals. And it's good that this happened.
That's misleading.
Yeah.
That's just not true.
Just to be clear, because I do want to get to the overhaul at the State Department, is it the U.S. policy to deport children, even U.S. citizens, with their families, and I hear what you're saying, without due process? Just to be very clear there.
Well, no. Again, if someone's in this country unlawfully, illegally, that person gets deported. If that person is with a 2-year-old child or has a 2-year-old child and says, I want to take my child with me, well, then what? You have two choices. You can say, yes, of course you can take your child, whether they're a citizen or not, because it's your child. Or you can say, yes, you can go, but your child must stay behind. And then your headlines would read, U.S. holding hostage 2-year-old, 4-year-old, 7-year-old while mother deported. So the parents make that choice.
I feel like there's a third option here. Third option here is don't deport the mothers that are married to U.S. citizens and have U.S. citizen children. Give them citizenship instead. What an incredibly radical proposition, I know. What an insanely radical proposition. Shocking, I know. Nobody thought about this beforehand. Turns out there is this woke third option where you don't do any of this, because why are you doing this? Are these mothers rabid criminals? Are they fucking violent gang members? Remember when the Trump administration was lying in the beginning of this mass deportation scheme, claiming falsely that they were going after all of these rabid criminals? What happened to the gang narrative? What happened to the terrorism narrative? Remember, it was never about terrorism or gangs whatsoever. That designation came on as a justification because it is that vague, that intentionally vague designation is used in this circumstance specifically to create this incredibly violent, morally repugnant mass deportation scheme.
Imagine those 3 U.S. citizen children have fathers here in the United States. Yeah. They can stay with their father. That's up to their family to decide where the children go. Children go with their parents. Parents decide where their children go. Right. The U.S. deported their mothers who were illegally in America.
Awfully telling of the administration's motivation that they only recently just said that they want to have more American babies, at the same time deporting a woman who gave birth to American babies. I wonder if this has anything to do with the skin color of said babies. Yeah. Who makes money in the deportation scheme? I mean, the facilitators do, but this isn't about, this is purely ideological for the most part. That's a big part of this, because white supremacy is purely ideological. There is not really that much of a materialist assessment. You can make one, but you have to also understand, and I do believe this, there is a decent number of Americans who are just genuinely fucking fascist. Like, not like irredeemably fascist, okay? There's a much larger number of Americans who abide by racist and fascist ideology, but that can be convinced to not do that. But there are definitely a decent chunk, I would say like 10% of the country, in the most conservative estimates, that are just straightforwardly neo-Nazi style people that like genuinely believe in white supremacy and think that this is very good, and that we have to do everything in our power to just deport every single person that's even like a touch browner than they are.
Trump's borders are. Tom Homan facing reporters in the White House briefing room and also facing new questions after a week.
I would say 20 to 30% who just fundamentally believe in making others suffer to make themselves superior or feel happy. Yes. I'm saying that's the reason why I said 10%. Like, look, I'm making up these numbers, okay? I'm making these numbers up as I go along. But I'm saying, by my estimation, this is totally arbitrary. It could be completely wrong. There's like 10% that is straightforwardly saying the 14 words that are like committed almost completely ideologically to Nazi-style fascism. And then another 20% to 30% that also think that, you know, this kind of deportation scheme is actually harming more vulnerable populations that then automatically elevates their status. And you are reaching again. What a shock. Really? You think it's a larger percentage that is like ideologically committed to neo-Nazi agendas? Is that what you're saying? Like, what's this fucking argument? Oh, FD Signifier is here. This is a great conversation for him and I to have as well. Doors open. Hold on.
Weekend of ICE actions, including deporting a mother with young children. The children are U.S. citizens. Let me play what Tom Homan said just moments ago.
Caroline, if border crossings are at a record low, why should it still be considered an emergency?
It's because of what has happened on the last administration. We got to ensure that not 1 ounce of fentanyl comes across the border to kill Americans. The president has declared the cartels in Mexico with terrorist organizations, along with MS-13 TDA. They've killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world combined. It's an emergency till we shut it down. It's an emergency till the cartels are wiped off the face of this earth. President Trump's committed to saving every life. Now, I just mentioned gotaways 38 yesterday. Who are the gotaways? Where do they come from? We had over 2 million gotaways under Joe Biden's administration. Why did 2 million people pay more to get away? Under the Biden administration, you pay a cartel this amount of money to cross the border. Cartel's job ends at the border. Just turn yourself in a green uniform. Get released in 24 hours. Get a free airline ticket to the city of your choice. Get a free hotel room. Get 3 meals a day. Get free medical care.
God damn it, the gray boxes are back.
120 days, which is the real reason they came here. Why did 2 million people pay more to get away?
Oh yeah, I'm live already.
Because they didn't want to be vetted. They didn't want to.
Civil rights groups say last week's deportations included 3 American children, all U.S. citizens.
Oh,
One
yeah,
of them is battling cancer.
For sure.
Let's go to CNN's Priscilla Alvarez.